sitting in my seat. There you go, this video is about you. Oh, fallen between the sofa. Oh, big yawn. Right. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I feel like I've not done a sit down video in forever and I wanted to come on and talk all things dog because I absolutely love my dog and I realised I haven't created, this is boring, I haven't created that much dog content on my YouTube channel apart from the video where we bring Basil home, and then obviously he's been in vlogs like when we've gone to Cornwall and Norfolk recently, so I'll link those below so you can see when we first got him. But yeah, I thought I would do a video all about my top tips and pieces of advice on raising a Labrador puppy or any puppy, but in my experience of course it is with a black Labrador. I've literally just realised that I've not got my wedding rings on either, so I feel a bit naked. I'm gonna be for a walk in today. Okay, that is much better. I've got my wedding rings on and I'm ready to go. Are you gonna come here? Come here. Good boy. Gotta be in the video if it's about you. Oh yeah, getting a bit of fan action there. Good boy. Anyway, before I get started, a little disclaimer that I am no dog expert, I'm no dog trainer or don't have any qualifications. This is just all about my experience of raising a Labrador. I also grew up with 2 Labradors as well, so I'm quite used to the breed, but of course every single dog is different and everyone's kind of parenting style is different. I just wanted to talk through things that I found have really worked for us and have created what I think to be a very well-behaved dog, and yeah, just the most loving, friendly, gorgeous dog in the world. Oh yes. Sorry in advance for the annoying dog mum voice, although actually I'm not that sorry, because if you don't like dogs or have a dog that you love to spoil, then maybe this is not the video for you. So I'm just inserting this back at the front of the video because I didn't even introduce my dog. This is Basil, and just for context, he is 1 year and 3 months old. So this is purely based on, he's yawning again. This is purely based on that amount of time, just over a year with the dog. Are we ready? Are you ready? Right, without further ado, my number 1 tip for raising a puppy is don't be afraid to be firm and set boundaries. So I've read a lot of puppy parenting books and they all say different things, or they'll say like a certain thing as if you have to take it to be absolute gospel. But I think it's important to read around, to take advice from other people, and also to think about what's going to work for you and your lifestyle. And for us, that was to use some gentle parenting. So where, you know, obviously not shouting at them all the time. They're puppies, they're learning. You've got to, if they're doing something bad, like, you know, chewing a shoe or something you don't want them to do long term, to, instead of saying no, to guide them to do something else instead, to distract them with a treat or with a toy that they can play with, to play games with them. You kind of divert their attention away. That is a really good technique, and I think probably one we used 75% of the time, showing him the good behaviour and rewarding the good behaviour. That's probably like the number 1 thing that I think trainers would say is good to do. However, I was quite firm with Basil from a young age and I have absolutely no regrets. Like, we have a fantastic relationship, she says, him having just gone onto the bed away from me. But he 100% respects me whilst, you know, never being scared of me or anything, and we have this kind of mutual understanding. Like, he just knows when he's done something wrong and he will never do it again. I say never, there's, you know, some exceptions to things that aren't that bad that he might sneakily do, but you know, I was quite firm when he was really little, and at the time I felt really bad. Like, if he'd do something, you know, be chewing and tugging down a plant to the point where it would fall over and soil would go everywhere, I would say no, I would do a firm no. And, you know, he puts his ears back, looks really guilty, but, you know, he doesn't do it again. And when you start to go out and about with your puppy, things like if they go to eat horse poo or roll in fox poo, I go so strict and so just a firm, like, absolutely no. Like, I have an angry, I don't want to do it now in case he looks at me like, what have I done? But I do think it is important to be firm at times and to set boundaries, because in my experience, he's never done it again. Like, we will walk past horse poo multiple times on our dog walks and he'll never do it. And I'm not saying that works for everyone. Other dogs might be different, you know, like, it is massively down to their temperament as well. I'm not saying that if you have done that and it doesn't work that you're like a bad dog parent or anything, because that's not, there's absolutely no judgment in this video. So please don't think that there's only one right way to do things, because there isn't. This is just my advice. So yeah, if you're getting a puppy, I would really recommend doing the gentle parenting whilst also being firm as well, because it's so important to set boundaries early on, especially when it comes to sleep and things like that. I know a lot of people like sleep downstairs with their puppy the first few nights, and again, totally fine if that works for you. We never did that. Our breeder again said, don't come down when he cries because he'll expect it all the time. And I do think from chatting to other people that is, I don't want to say a mistake because they'll probably grow out of it, so it's fine if you're willing to do it, but it can be a mistake because then they know that every time they whine or cry that you will come down or be right there, and that's just not kind of realistic. So we actually ended up setting an alarm in the middle of the night to come down and let him out for a wee, otherwise he just could, obviously they just can't hold their wee for very long, so that worked quite well. Anyway, I'm going super off tangent. The first point was about being firm but fair, shall we say. Like, I just think setting boundaries is important, but obviously not being too strict. Like, they're a puppy, they don't understand everything yet. You can't expect them to understand everything yet, and they need lots of fun and play and love, and that really helps them learn. But yeah, it's good to have a balance. I just think if they're chewing your shoe and you don't tell them no, and you know, really get a little bit cross, then they'll just keep doing it and they won't take you seriously, is my opinion. On that note, definitely get a sour apple spray. We got some off Amazon. That's really good for spraying on furniture and skirting boards and things. Although he only chewed the skirting board once and I told him off for that and he never did it again. So we've got an angel dog over here. He doesn't want to be on camera. Okay, number 2 is probably a really obvious one, but especially helpful with a Labrador, which is that just use food to your advantage, because they are obsessed with food. I mean, the first few days we had Basil, he wasn't as obsessed because they're really young and they go a little bit off their food when they're in a new environment. But as they start to grow, they're completely obsessed with food. And we found, and we had really good advice from our puppy training class, that instead of giving them like, I think it's 3 meals at the start, of like, you know, the quantity you're supposed to give them, to kind of reduce that a little bit and to just do a lot more treats. We found that chicken worked particularly well, so you boil chicken breasts and at every possible opportunity use it as training. So when you're in and around the house, doing sit, paw, middle is a really good one, and stuff, lie down obviously, and stuff that is going to help his learning so that he's getting his calories and food at other points rather than just at mealtime, because it just makes sense for him to learn as he goes. So I'd really recommend doing that. Again, it doesn't have to be from day one, but like, you know, after a few weeks, it's every food opportunity is an opportunity to learn. And yeah, it goes without saying that doing training like before you give breakfast and dinner and things are also really great, because then he knows that he's got this reward. So yeah, definitely food to reward good behaviour and just to make them feel safe. Food will be your best friend if you have a puppy, and we have bought a lot of like the wag bags of treats. Lily's Kitchen is another really good one, but we did find that chicken was particularly good as well, and it's easy to cook up and probably quite cost effective, and you know that it's just full of nutrients rather than anything processed, so definitely recommend that. Number 3 is leave them early. Now that sounds really mean, and it's going to be completely dependent on how you feel, how the dog feels, but we did start to leave Basil from, how young did we leave him? Not that young, don't get me wrong. It was after, you know, all his vaccinations. He was probably between 4 and 6 months old, I think. What I mean is start to leave them on their own for short periods of time and then build it up over time. And this will massively help if you have a lifestyle where you need to be out for a few hours in the day, or you need to leave him on his own, because if you go from obviously nothing and being with them 24/7 to then suddenly needing to go out for 4 hours or go to work or whatever it is, then it's going to be like a massive shock. And we really found that giving Basil a treat before we left, so he had something to focus on, was the best way. So we give him a chew or something, either in his crate or out of the crate when he was kind of ready for that. And I think even if you leave for like 10 minutes, distract them with something, go out for 10 minutes, go to the corner shop, whatever, and then you come back, then you're showing them that they are safe and you're giving them confidence that you will return, then that's a perfect way for them to not feel so distressed and unsafe when you do leave for longer periods of time. And even just down to like leaving them downstairs on their own while you go upstairs for a bit, it really helps to train them to not be so dependent on you or so needy. And of course it can be sad, like sometimes they might whine at the door, but again, I think it's really important to set boundaries and either ignore that behaviour or come down and kind of say, no, don't do that, and then you go away, leave them. Usually Basil would then settle and would do things like put the TV on for him, and just building up slowly just made it so much easier when we did need to go out for 2 hours or 4 hours. I think that's another cheeky bit of advice is, I know it can be, if you're watching this and you've got a puppy, then you might be crying on the floor or really sleep deprived, and I know that it can be really hard work because especially, you know, those first few weeks, that first month, you feel like you can't leave them at all, and it is really hard because I was alone a lot because Sam has quite a busy job, so you know, I'd be clearing up a wee on one side of the room and then he'd be on the other pulling that plant over or trying to chew something, and you know, you feel like you can barely even go upstairs to the toilet or go for a shower or do anything without leaving them, and it is intense and it's a lot of work, but it really does pay off, and it's worth putting the time in and doing things like I said, like really building up leaving them, because when you then do need to leave them for longer, it will really work in your favour and be a smooth process, and it's less scary for them as well. I know this sounds like really obvious advice, but it's nice to just sometimes hear someone else's experience and maybe make you feel less alone with it or help you make decisions about what's going to make the training easier. It's just such an amazing time when they're so little, and I feel like sometimes it feels so stressful and tiring and overwhelming that you look back and think, oh, I wish I'd enjoyed that more, but you can't unfortunately go back in time. So something I would say is, it is such a short period of time that they're like distressed for, you know, like when we first drove Basil away, you know, he was a bit whiny and a bit unsure in the car, and that's totally normal and it can be really heartbreaking, but all those little phases where they're kind of a little bit weary or like driving you crazy because they're being a bit naughty or like chewing things, it is so short-lived. Yeah, I know that hindsight is a wonderful thing, and in the moment it is totally normal to feel stressed out and tired and cranky because your dog is driving you mad. Okay, another piece of advice, I think this is number 4, is to practice both on lead and off lead walking. And this was really helpful advice for us from our puppy school and from our neighbours have a dog, and they did a lot of off lead walking, and their dog's only like a month older than ours. And I guess something I thought is that you always just do lead walking for ages until they're trustworthy enough, and then you let them off, and then yeah, I guess I just always thought that was how it would go. But having gone through training Basil and hearing the advice from the puppy class, it makes so much more sense now to take them off the lead early. Because when they're really little and they first start going on walks, they are obsessed with you most of the time. They look, you're the one with the treats, you're the one rewarding, you're the fun one, you're the one who plays with them at home and is taking them on this amazing new adventure. So 9 times out of 10, they will want to stick with you and they will be looking at you for guidance, and so it's the perfect time to show them how it's done off the lead. And if you keep them on the lead and never take them off because you're nervous, which is totally understandable and also massively depends on location, then when you do finally take them off, they're like, oh my god, this is amazing, what's going on? And they're obviously going to run off, want to explore. They're not going to want to be put back on the lead because this amazing new experience is fabulous without you because they can run free. Then it just makes sense as to why, if you do a bit of both and take them off the lead early, that they perhaps might be better trained off the lead, if that makes sense, if I said that correctly. So like I said, obviously completely depends on location. If you're obviously just walking along a road, they need to be on the lead. However, we're lucky enough to live in the countryside, so we have a lot of like fields and green spaces and that sort of place where he can come off the lead, and so for us it was super important to take him off early. Having said that, it is not easy. I know I said they would be obsessed with the owners and stick with us, and he is sometimes, but when he was very young, obviously obsessed with other dogs and other people, like so excited. He is the friendliest, like he's a Labrador, you know, he just loves other dogs, he loves other people as well. So he would run up to them, run up to other dogs, and that can be really hard. But I do think it's important to let them have those experiences and to practice recall in those situations, and eventually it pays off. And it can be really, really challenging, but they do grow up, they do grow out of it. And I think that giving them both on-lead and off-lead experiences does show them the ropes a bit quicker, and Basil is now a dream off the lead. and on the lead, to be honest. Like, he does pull at the very start of the walk, you know, he's excited to get out, but he is so much better. We have a lot of cues. I use watch me, and he will look straight at me, and that's kind of our cue to check in, and he'll slow down. So yeah, I do think that lead training and off lead training are important in equal measure, because if you just do off lead all the time, it's then a nightmare if you put them on the lead, vice versa. So just trying to practice both as much as you can is really important. And also, along with that, to not get embarrassed or feel really crap about yourself if your puppy is running up to sniff other dogs, because they're dogs. And I know a lot of people get a bit like, oh, they shouldn't be off the lead if they're not under control, but how will they learn? That's like telling a kid like, oh, well, they can't go to nursery unless they've learned to share, or I don't know. They don't just know this stuff, they have to learn it. And when they're a small puppy, they're not hurting anyone. So yeah, try to ignore the people who are very kind of black and white about it. And now that he's fully grown, if there's a dog on the lead, I will, and if I think he's gonna like run up and be disruptive, I'll put him on the lead as well, out of respect, because you don't know, do you? It could be a reactive dog, or it could have just been castrated or something, and he doesn't need a now big Labrador bouncing over. I would say that now he is over a year old, he is 90% reliable in that he will listen to me. There are exceptions, you know, he sees other Labradors, especially other big dogs, they like to have a play, it's usually mutual, so it's fine and it's in a safe space. So yeah, I'm not by any means saying it is perfect, it's always a work in progress, but yeah, I think that would probably be my biggest piece of advice, because you walk your dog every day, or maybe you walk them multiple times a day. We personally just do once a day, but because you spend, every single day doing it, it is so important to do a bit of both to suit all surroundings, and hopefully once they're mature and an adult, they will have a really good relationship with you on your walks and around lots of other exciting things going on. I'm sure there's loads of videos out there from actual qualified trainers to give like more intricate tips into how to do that. But yeah, just as an overarching one, do off-lead walking as much as on-lead walking, and it should lead to a nice, well-rounded, well-trained dog out on a walk. Okay, and then my last tip is a bit of a soppy one, but it is to take all the photos and all the videos. Honestly, they are small for such little time. I miss Basil being a cute little puppy that we could scoop up into our arms. We used to have to carry him down the stairs into the grass so that he'd go to the toilet. I remember a time when he used to put his paws up on the sofa because he couldn't quite reach. And yeah, they're just the best, and I will never apologise for being so in love with my dog. If you don't love your dog so much and want to give him the best, most exciting life possible, then like, why do you have one? Like, I just think that if you're not obsessed with your dog, then what are you doing? Like, obviously I'm fully aware there's bigger things in life, but I guess I don't think people should be shunned for thinking of their dogs as being like their children and things, because I mean, I spend every single day with Basil. He is just, my best friend, 100%. So don't apologise for having a camera roll full of pictures of them, full of videos. You will look back on them and absolutely love them, especially the funny ones. I took one this morning of Basil. I'll put it on the screen because hopefully you're obsessed with dogs too. And he is literally like a cat, I swear. He just lies on his back, plays with his toys. It's so nice when he entertains himself. He's always been quite good at that, actually. Like, he loves tug of war, he's obsessed with the ball now. That's another great way of training your dog, although I feel like he's borderline obsessive now and I think we need to dial it back. But he doesn't want to run off and play with other dogs now because he's so obsessed with the ball. But yeah, I love it when he lies on his back. It's the cutest, and it's so cute looking back on like when he first did that as a puppy. It shows that they're really safe and comfortable in their environment, so that should give you a big thumbs up that you're doing a great job of making them feel like a very happy pup. But yeah, having all the videos and all the photos is so important because it goes by in a flash, and they really are just the cutest things ever. Good boy, yes. Right. Oh. That is a word that he seems to think means, right, we're going on a WALK, or it's DINNER time. Oh, stinky breath. So I think I'm going to end the video here. I hope that these tips have been helpful. It's more that I just wanted to have a little chat about the things that I found really helpful and little snippets of info that might seem really obvious, but also sometimes you just need that reminder. I hope that if you're getting a puppy, that's helpful, and you can also pop any comments below as well if you have any specific questions about training a Labrador or anything. I would be happy to pop my experiences and advice below. And if you love dog content and want to see more of Basil Basil, who has been very boring in this video, might I add. Then I post loads about him on my Instagram stories, so you can go follow me there. It's just Lottie Rainbow, but I'll also pop a link below. I think we should get a second dog at some point. What do you think? Do you want a brother or a sister? Probably a brother. Do you want a baby brother? Not now, but maybe one day. I don't think this sofa can handle it. Our beautiful sofa's constantly got, like, to be fair, he's not that dirty, but it's always got blankets on it that I have to wash every week and they get covered in dog hair, but you know, we wouldn't have it any other way. Belly scratches. Do we have a nap? Oh, I wish I could nap in the middle of the day like you. You want some chicken? Do you? Wait. Watch me. Good boy. Wait. Wait. Watch me. Watch me. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. Now you're awake. Okay, sit. Okay, let's end the video. Let's end the video. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for lots more videos. Follow me on Instagram for more Basil content. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And we will see you in the next one.